We welcome you into Week 9 of the Mike Turner Show as Carson-Newman battles through the elements and the Tusculum Pioneers to pick up a 27-7 victory over the arch rivals from East Tennessee at a rain-soaked Berktar Stadium. Hello, everyone. I'm the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier, alongside Carson-Newman head football coach Mike Turner. Mike, weather's certainly a factor in the game. A torrential downpour pretty much in 40-degree temperatures throughout that contest, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, and your Eagles pick up a 27-7 win over the Tusculum Pioneers. What did your crew do to get the job done?
Well, I think it was critical how they started. That's all about the start, and I felt like we were all right when we went out for the warm-up, and they called them out. They ran out there to stretch. They just went off, and I thought right there, well, we got a pretty good chance today if this is going to be the case. And I go back and thank our coaches for preparing them, but Johnny Long and his staff for getting them energized during the warm-up period. And then we had a great warm-up on the field with them, and they got themselves ready in the locker room, and then they came out and really exploded. And they never act like the weather was a factor, to be honest with you.
And arguably as up a team has been this season for your team. Is there something that you can pinpoint, aside from the warm-ups and whatnot, that caused hyped, I guess, a performance?
I think we talked to them about having you back against the wall, and that's where we are. We had our back against the wall, and it's great that we got our back against the wall the next 2 weeks. All right, to see how they come out fighting, and what they did, they responded great. And again, just the way our coaches handle that part of it and getting them ready, and they've had a good week of practice. It just didn't happen right then. They've had a good week of practice. They do know what's at stake, the opportunities, but just to come out fighting like that and have that kind of spirit and that kind of attitude was tremendous to watch. Normally
we hold off on talking on the second half until segment 3, but it's certainly one of the more notable points of this game. Tusculum, 5 3-and-outs in the second half, and they throw a pick 6. They don't get a first down. They lose 10 yards of total offense in that half. Why was the defense so dominant to push you on to victory?
Well, I think in those kind of conditions, obviously on both sides of it, to be honest with you, it favors the defense. That ball gets so cold and so wet at one time that it's not going to be much of a throwing threat. But they were a football team that came out, and our defense was pretty much determined they were going to get it done all day long. I mean, they were doing that all day long. But I think at halftime we got focused in a little bit better about eliminating some other thoughts and just be a football player. Go see what happens when you change your level. Take your level so high that somebody else can't get to that level. And obviously our defense played at that level. I went out on the field to talk to him when Tavion had got injured there on the punt return and talked about sudden change, and they went, "Hey, Coach, we got it." I said, "Hey, that's all right with me." I walked off the field and left. They had it. They had it done.
We'll talk about those turnovers, how they factored into the contest when we break down the first half after these messages on the Mike Turner Show. Back on the Mike Turner Show as Carson-Newman collects a win in the second oldest rivalry game in the state of Tennessee. I'm Adam Cavalier alongside Carson-Newman head football coach Mike Turner. The Eagles win 27-7 over the Tusculum Pioneers. Mike, a first half headlined by turnovers. Every point in that first half, you should take a 13-7 lead, influenced by a turnover in some form or fashion. In your case, it was a pair of interceptions to Morris Coates and Desmond Farrell, pick-off passes that set up short fields, less than 25 yards and 2 touchdowns. What influenced those picks?
Well, the weather. There's no question. It's the weather. Gosh, when you have that kind of weather, our defensive kids just came wide open. It's a pass rush. You know what I mean? It's a pass rush. It's having your eyes in the game, seeing your reads, that type of thing. And they were sitting right with it. Morris was sitting right where he's supposed to be. I don't know that the quarterback saw him, but he was right where he's supposed to be. And that's the way you have to play under patterns and those kind of things that show up. But gosh, our kids were very opportunistic. But you're not lucky when you're opportunistic, because you make things happen to be opportunistic to get those turnovers. And our kids made those things happen. The weather is a part of that makes it happen. But I'm going to give the edge to Carson-Newman.
Weather also really created havoc on quarterback center snap exchanges. A whopping 13 fumbles combined between the two teams. I don't think I've ever seen that many fumbles in one game. Is that even something that you worry about moving forward, given how cold and wet it was?
Well, I don't think you can. We've had times we've been out here in a pouring down rain and stayed out there just to get that kind of practice in. But in that pouring down rain, it might have been 70 degrees. That's a different animal. Those footballs, when they get to a certain point, and that's why we need to change the rule about being able to change balls out. But when they get to a certain point, it is slick, and it's a game of survival. Okay, whoever has the least amount of those. We were very solid in our quarterback exchange. When it did come out, we didn't try to do anything else except get right to the ball. Don't try to do anything with it. Just get on the ball, and we'll live to fight another day. But you have to be on the alert for that. It's tough. I've been there as been a center and trying to snap the ball when it's floating in water. That's not the easiest thing to do. But especially when that wind's howling and it's 40 degrees or worse.
Even with the fumble, you don't lose any of those exchanges. Neither did Tusculum.
Right.
Do lose 3 fumbles though, but Tusculum only scores points off one of them, and they return that for a touchdown. What does that say about your defense to bow up and take care of some short fields?
Well, Coach Slade and our staff, they put them in those situations, and they talk about sudden change, and sudden change, how you handle that is one of the defensive goals. And boy, they did a great job. Like I said, they were out there and went out to check on Tavion to see he's okay, and then talk to them, and I went, woo, they're ready to play. And they didn't get anything off of that one. So I believe they're growing up. It's not an overnight situation, but they're growing up, and I'm so proud of them when they learn to play that way and to celebrate how you play that way, because it doesn't come by accident. That becomes that's a product of hard work. That's a product of believing. That's a product about caring about each other.
Carson-Newman up at the halftime break, 13-7 over the Tusculum Pioneers. First half highlights head your way now on the Mike Turner Show.
3rd down and 6 to go for the Pioneers, looking to avoid back-to-back-to-back 3 and outs. Eagles defense keyed up. Ogle, straight draw, dumps for a pick to Morris Coates with the interception, and he rumbles inside the 20-yard line to set up the Eagles. Ogle, just the 5th interception he's thrown this season, and the Eagles in business.
Yeah, that's just a look at me there ball. I mean, Morris Coates was in his drop. There was a drag right in front of him, but the throw from Ogle was behind the receiver. Coates didn't move. He just kind of stuck out his hands there and said, oh, look what I have. Quick.
Evans, quarterback sneak, the surge, and he's in. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Derek Evans lights the lamp on the ground for the 11th time this season. And the Eagles with a 6-0 lead. Second and a more manageable 2. There's the long ball along the left sideline, and that is easily intercepted by Des Farrell. Des Farrell with a cadre of blockers across midfield. Farrell gliding into Tusculum territory. Stays on his feet to the 25, breaks free of a tackle, and brought down at the 22-yard line by Alex Ogle. Des Farrell, 3rd pick of the season, and that strikes up the band.
That was almost too easy there for the sophomore. I mean, he was just running, kind of playing underneath the receiver, kind of had his hand on a little bit like a basketball player might would, and by the end of it, it looked like Farrell was running that go route. He goes up, makes the easy interception, turns around and gets a huge return, setting up Carson-Newman just outside of the red zone.
The Eagles just here. Evans, QB sneak. Evans stands in the end zone. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Derek Evans into the end zone for the 2nd time today, bruising his way for 3 yards on the score. 2 for 6 on 3rd down so far today. Go to the ground again to Shippey. He's met in the backfield, and the Eagles swallow him up back at the 30. Jason Cook Calhoun, the first man through.
Really picking up here now big, hefty drops falling on the turf here at Bergtar Stadium.
High snap, it's through Holbert's hands. Holbert will pick it up, lose it in the end zone. The Pioneers recover it. A defensive touchdown for Tusculum. 4th time that the Pioneers have pulled that off. Timmy Pratt with the score to make it a 1-score game.
Those are the first half highlights with the Eagles leading the Pioneers of Tusculum 13-7 at the halftime break. Mike, halftime locker room where you have the lead. You've pretty much shut down Tusculum the entirety of the first half. But what'd you say at the halftime break to drive home what wound up being a sensational second half performance?
I think all of our coaches went to positions first and reassured the kids and those kind of things. And I think the biggest thing that we got done at halftime as a whole football team was not let outside things affect how we're going to play or affect how we're going to respond. And we want to play at a level that nobody can bring us down from that level. And our kids came out and responded to that. Boy, we were late getting them out of there. Again, Johnny Long and his staff got them stretched as best they could. You know, it was a matter of just saying, hey, this is who we are, this is how we're going to play. That's not going to change because we're good enough to play at that level and even try to go to another. If you want to go to another level, you have to keep going that way all the time. Mm-hmm. And I was very proud of them. That's the way they responded.
You look at this game, you don't throw the football. Only 1 pass attempt on the day, and obviously, but byproduct of the weather. First time that's happened since 2011 that Carson-Newman doesn't complete a pass and wins a game. But your ground game, 6 yards a carry, if you factor out the muff snaps and,
right,
and the blocked punt, or the muff punt. Jared Dillingham, Deontay Thomas, first time this season you've had 2 100-yard rushers. What did they do to be successful on the ground?
Well, they did what we talked about before the game. And those elements, you got to have a grind mentality. Number one, we stressed him on offenses yesterday. We needed to be more productive on first down. That was the key to us last week not performing very well, is that we weren't productive on first down. Second thing was take care of the football. And they did a great job with that and those situations and people grabbing at the ball and those kind of things. And you know, just be confident in what they're doing. And when we talked at halftime, we made just a little bit of adjustments. And, you know, we had a great game plan going into that game that was totally out with the weather. I mean, it was just totally out of. You could have took that piece of paper from my pocket and left it somewhere else. It was totally out of that. And then in the second half, our coaches upstairs did a great job of just saying, hey, remind me about just freezing them. You know, just have a freeze at the line of scrimmage, see what they were looking at, see what they were doing, and we simply responded from there.
Eagles get the job done over the Tusculum Pioneers, 27-7. We'll break down a fantastic second half for Carson-Newman after these messages on The Mike Turner Show. Back on The Mike Turner Show as Carson-Newman triumphs over the Tusculum Pioneers, 27-7. I'm Adam Cavalier alongside Carson-Newman head coach Mike Turner. Mike, a second half. Good night. And with the weather, I don't know how it could go any better. Third quarter, a bit of a slog, but the fourth quarter, unquestionably, Carson-Newman dominates. And it started with your longest scoring possession in terms of yards of the season. Pinned at your own 5, and you reel off 2 enormous runs between Jared Dillingham and Deontay Thomas. What caused things to open up on that possession?
I think we were very patient. I said I think we were trying to freeze them there at the line of scrimmage and let them make a commitment which way they were trying to lean or whatever, and we responded going the other way. But, you know, determination, I think, by those kids. I mean, the guys that are there in the huddle before we go on the field, and all they're talking about is going 95 yards. Well, they did it. And then that drive in the fourth quarter was just awesome.
The drive you're referring to, 17 plays, 82 yards. No points out of it. That's okay, because you take the final 10 minutes and 36 seconds off the clock. Vintage Carson-Newman football with that drive. How proud are you of that? That's how you execute to close down the game.
Well, that was we gathered them all over there and told them we want to make sure we finish this thing with class. That's everybody. And so that drive, they just were patient. They were excited. And we were very opportunistic about taking care of situations, fronts they were in, that type of thing. but also just and it was about taking care of the football. But man, they had a little different pickup in that step as they come off the ball this time, and got to where they just enjoyed it. They knew it was going to be a grind. They knew we couldn't throw the football. We wasn't going to pitch it, and it was between a tackle to a tackle type of thing. And but they handled it well.
Defensively, 5 3-and-outs in the second half. Darius Williams has his pick 6. For all that you guys talked about at halftime and about that style of play, how proud are you to see it come to fruition, and come to fruition in spades?
Right. Well, we talked about it, in the last couple of games we didn't get a turnover, and those guys on defense were taking that seriously, and to watch them get the turnover, the first one with Tamaris right there, when they got a turnover, not only were they excited, but everybody on the sideline was excited, and then to watch you get a chance to not only get a turnover on defense but score points out of it, boy, that was really a great celebration for us.
First time in 399 days that you punch in a defensive touchdown. What happened on that play to enable Darius Williams to go up, get it, and then race 58 yards the other way for the score?
Defense. It was a total defensive effort. Trying to throw the ball deep in those conditions, those type of things. Plus, you got somebody in your face that makes that arch a little bit higher. That grip is not the same on the ball. But what I was the most proud of is we intercepted the ball, but we played smart. No penalties, no blocking the back, no holding, nothing to call it back, nothing to take a great moment, go boom to the bottom with it. Just, they're watching the guy run and I'm watching behind him. That's the thought you had. But boy, when he scored it, that was great for him and great for our whole defense, our staff. But to see him do it and be so aware of, hey, we're not going to take anything out of this one. That was smart.
Carson-Newman gets the win over the Tusculum Pioneers, 27-7, and here are the second half highlights.
Hand off to Brown, and the Eagles string him down. Antonio Henderson, the first man in there with Tamaris Coates as well. This one goes 3 wide now. Sidecar to the left. A handoff to Brown. Tries to find his cutback lane, but can't. Saheem Stupart rolls into the gap to knock him back.
Stupart doing just a great job of playing the line of scrimmage, going down, shuffling his feet when he sees the open gap.
On the give to Brown, he stutter-stepped in the backfield, and that let the Eagles shoot in. Jarvis Green flexing his muscles. Some celebration with Darius Williams after the fact. 3 and out.
Really good play there by Green. You see Bembry coming from the backside, kind of sandwiching there with Green. Green's made a couple of plays in that backfield. This Carson-Newman linebacking corps has been all over the field today.
Brown is the single setback with a man in motion. Hand off Brown, and he's knocked down in the backfield. Ross Pryor lurching into the fray.
Really nice play there by kind of the hybrid edge player for Carson-Newman. Actually coming from the inside on a twist, it looked like there.
War of attrition in the second oldest rivalry game in the state of Tennessee. Evans inside his 5, gives on a trap to Dillingham. That opens up marvelously. 20-plus yards on the ground for Dillingham, carrying a defender across the 40. Boyd goes for a ride over the 45. Jared Dillingham, a beefy 41-yard tote.
Yeah, Dillingham jacked up after that last run. 40-plus yards for the senior. But I'll tell you what, Adam, Tusculum had a chance to make a play in the backfield. Going into the backfield absolutely untouched. Randy Hooks, he just didn't make a play on it.
How about Boyd? Carried 13 yards downfield by Jared Dillingham. 3rd and 7. Evans. Trapped to the left side, Thomas. Thomas picks up the first down and breaks free. D.D. Thomas. Good night, Vienna. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. 37 yards for D.D. Thomas. Explodes on the trap. And the Eagles lead it 19-7 with 12:41 left in the fourth quarter.
Thomas has had a really, really nice game. That run just kind of capping it off, takes the handoff on a lead left side, gets a block, scoots through a little lane there, and then he's off to the races. No one's going to catch up to him.
Looky here, shotgun for Ogle. Gives to Brown, stretch play to the left, and Brown hops through a hole and is beheaded by Saheem Stupart. What a lick. Mercy.
Yeah, big time hit right there by Saheem Stupart. Kind of got him in midair there as he's rushed around the left side. Kind of goes airborne, and Saheem Stupart there to clean him up.
They're bouncing. Mac Lambert, legendary running back. He's fired up. 2nd and 14. Ogle, deep ball. That is picked off. Williams ranging his way along the left sideline. Williams with blockers. Williams, house call. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Darius Williams soars into the end zone.
Third interception of the day for Ogle. This time, Darius Williams there on the other end to receive that interception. Shows some nice vision going the other way, maybe dating back to his high school days as a ball carrier, weaving his way down the field for the touchdown on the interception return. Carson-Newman up big now. It's 26-7.
Those are the second half highlights as Carson-Newman stays unbeaten at the Creek against Tusculum for an 83rd consecutive season. Eagles win 27-7 over the Pioneers, and when we come back on the Mike Turner Show, Michael Watring shines our Eagles spotlight. That's after this. Back on the Mike Turner Show, Carson-Newman victorious over Tusculum in the second oldest rivalry game in the state of Tennessee, 27-7 in Week 9. Time now for our Eagles spotlight. And this week, Michael Watring puts it on senior wide receiver Darvier DeBose.
Darvier DeBose had never known another position other than quarterback after he sat out his redshirt freshman season in 2013. A logjam at signal caller prompted a shift to wide receiver. Despite the fact that DeBose has been a steady producer for the Eagles, the adjustments continue.
Playing quarterback all my life is really all I knew. And when I changed positions, it was tough at first, but because of my athleticism, I kind of could adjust and learn all the skills needed to play. We do a lot of blocking here, and a lot of runs depend on us. Like a lot of big plays depend on our blocks. So I just have to learn. I'm still learning today how I can better myself at that.
The understanding of quarterback has been an asset to his development at wideout. DeBose's position coach Carl White sees the change in role as beneficial in multiple ways.
I think it provides him just a added, depth of knowledge for him. It allows him to help out his teammates a little more. It just provides him a little bit more familiarity, especially with the overall offense of what's going on. Definitely a plus for him. I think that says a lot about him as a man, because a lot of people probably would have bolted, probably would have left and found other opportunities. I think that says so much about Darvier, just willing to find his niche here, just being able to plug in and just finding a way to contribute any way he could. I think that speaks volumes for him.
Carson-Newman's coaching staff, like many in the country, is trying to get its best players on the field. For head coach Mike Turner, he wanted one of his best athletes between the lines.
You got playmakers, and that's what you want in that position. And those guys have been able to make plays, and when people play an option, they're going to have 8 in the box, 9 in the box, and they're just telling you there's the one-on-ones. And we told our kids, the Darviers, the Dorians, Ted and those guys, Q and all those people, you're going to get one-on-ones, you're going to get 2-on-2s. Well, hey, it's your job to beat that. It doesn't get any better to be a wideout than having a 1-on-1 or 2-on-2 there.
DeBose is soft-spoken, but it has not held him back from being a leader to a young crop of Eagles. White says that his work ethic and lead-by-example style has benefited the receiving corps.
Right, I think that's probably the hardest thing when you first come here, is just getting acclimated with how Eagles act. I think that's it's challenging for some, and I think for him just to have that seasonedness to him has been great for our guys. We got a lot of older guys, and we also have a ton of young guys too. And just to be able to see how he goes about his business, how he carries himself every day, it's a plus.
Like many student athletes at CN, DuBose was quick to point out that the biggest takeaway for Mossy Creek was the relationships that he has built.
Just the experiences, man, and the relationship with the coaches. I mean, with Coach Dino, my position coach last year, he's been a tremendous aspect of my life. We're doing Bible study before every game, and just relationships with people here is just good. The things they taught me here, how to be a man, not just about football, it's about your life outside of football, and being a good Christian man and just being the best person you can be.
DuBose was dealt an unexpected hand when he suited up in the orange and blue for the first time in 2013. The senior did not fold. Rather, he found a way to be productive. He has not missed a game since 2014, a string of 31 straight contests. The Darlington, South Carolina native adapted to college as he uses his story to encourage others. For the Mike Turner Show, I'm Michael Wattrang.
All right, thank you very much, Michael Wattrang. Mike Turner, Darvier DuBose, getting down to the nitty-gritty of his senior season. And much like all of your wide receivers, certainly team guys, didn't see a pass thrown his way on Saturday, but certainly blocked people pretty well.
Yes, and you know, it got to the point very, very early in the game that was not going to be an option. And, man, I was so proud of those kids. And they had encouragement coming out of them, you know what I mean, and especially on the sideline and things, what to do and what to look after. So very proud of them. And gosh, I remember going to Darvier school to recruit him, meeting his mom and dad there, and so it's been fun to see him grow up over the years and have a great relationship with his family. And so he's been a great teammate, and now he's working on his master's. So, buddy, he's had a blessing in his time here at Carson-Newman also. A
couple of fun moments from that game that casual fans might not know. Eric Kane, former linebacker, Dan Gallman, former offensive lineman and Good Works team member, back at the stadium on the broadcast crew. Right. How special is that a couple of Eagles who have some interest in that make their way back here to do that? That
goes back to their feeling a part of a family. They're feeling that this is a special place for them, meant a great deal in their lives, and it did. And both those young men, however they end up, are going to be great successes. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. They're both going to be great successes. But, you know, they came from a beginning of them as a player to grow as a player, to grow as a player, to grow as to a leader on the football team, and then have some great things happen in their life.
Turn your attention now to the Lenore Bears. The senior class has never beaten LR. Coach Keller has, coming off of a loss to UNC Pembroke, what do you have to do to head over to Hickory and challenge the Bears?
Well, we've got to, it's sad to say, but get this game behind us. You know, you got to get this game behind us, and you've got to remember who we are and where we're going, and get our focus, you know, enjoy this one and enjoy it Monday together, watching video and those things, but starting Tuesday, make sure our focus and our mindset is going to a place that's we've had a hard time in the last few years. That doesn't make any sense for that to happen all of a sudden. So we need to go over there with the right mindset, the right focus, and play like we can play and play at that level, and not only play at that level but raise that level. This is the 10th game of the season. Wow. And so, you know, your game should be elevating each week. And when we get to that point, then we're building a football team.
Mike, pleasure as always. Congrats on the victory over the Tusculum Pioneers.
Thanks, Adam. I appreciate it, buddy.
That's Carson-Newman head football coach Mike Turner. I'm the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier. This has been the Mike Turner Show. Thanks for watching.